Jake Paul is threatening to sue his haters. You can sue for that. 8772 RadioU after a big fight over the weekend where he defeated Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He called everybody out. That's a normal thing after boxing, wrestling, UFC matches. He called out all of his haters. He says, after years of letting it slide as just haters being haters, I've asked my team to vigorously go after anyone who makes up lies about my boxing career. Expect to get served, you pigs.
My gosh.
This is after many people have called into question the fights that he's chosen, where he seems to be either picking non-boxers or boxers that are well past their prime, or in the case of Tommy Fury, an actual boxer that beat him.
Yeah.
So he is being called into question. Now, this has reached it's become an extra bit of a big deal because he had a recent interview with Piers Morgan where Piers Morgan called him out, questioned it in the interview.
Yeah.
And then after the fight, Piers Morgan tweeted, I had a better fight with Jake Paul on Thursday than the unwatchable farce that took place tonight. This guy's lining his pockets with buckets of dollars, but he's killing boxing with his boring, staged BS against older fighters way past their prime.
Yeah, I think Piers is just speaking what all of us have said. This is just like, at this point, a joke, a running joke with Jake Paul, where it's like, who is he going to bring out of retirement to fight next? That just seems to be his MO as a boxer. Do you really want that to be your MO? You're beating up old men, Jake Paul?
No, he doesn't. That's why he's suing people that are saying...
But that's what you're doing.
Things.
You continuously do this. So I don't know how you can defend yourself. But yeah, after Piers tweeted that, his manager tweeted back saying, we will no longer accept these wild accusations. We're going to go after anybody, legal action and all of this stuff. And then Jake Paul tweeted what you said. And what I loved about that tweet was not the tweet itself, but someone in the comments of Jake Paul's tweet, which was retweeting what his manager had said. Somebody in the comments added Grok, the AI part of X, and asked the question, does Jake Paul fight boxers past their prime? And here was Grok AI's answer. Jake Paul has not fought any current or relevant boxers in their prime. His opponents like Mike Tyson, 58, and Anderson Silva, 47, were past their peak, while others like Nate Robinson and Ben Askren were not boxers. Tommy Fury, the closest to a prime boxer, was early in his career when Paul lost to him. Critics argue Paul avoids top-tier fighters, but his team insists his sanctioned fights show legitimacy. Data supports the view that his matchups favor less competitive opponents.
Yeah.
So even Grok AI knows this. Even they can see that this is all just, not very competitive fighting because he continually is fighting people that are in their 50s.
Yeah, and it's... like his manager and his team has said, well, all these fights are judged by fair judges, that and keeps talking about how
it's not rigged.
Yeah, the judges aren't tipping the scales for him, but they don't need to.
No,
because I feel like
he's already got an advantage.
Yeah, he's got an advantage, and let's be honest, I feel like most of the fighters he's fought maybe are just doing this to take a paycheck, and they're not really caring. They may not
They're
be...
not trying that hard.
They may not be, saying, yes, Jake Paul, I will lose to you.
Right.
But I also feel like they may not be trying their hardest.
Yeah.
And we've seen the biggest sham of the fight of all of them was Floyd Mayweather, right?
Yes.
Where that wound up being like a draw in a fight that didn't even count for anything.
No.
So, anyways, I feel very justified in my choice to not watch the Jake Paul fight and instead watch UFC over the weekend. We got some great matches.
I was going to say, there was a huge UFC match this weekend.
Topuria Oliveira, that was crazy.
Right. I didn't even know this Jake Paul thing was happening.
Yeah.